Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the High Growth Startup Podcast, where each week we challenge the next generation of entrepreneurs to prove their company will grow and change this world. My name is Rafe, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Will Murray, and today we are joined by Nick Chat, with the founder of 220, a bold, stylish vodka accessible brand, born in London and gearing to disrupt the US market. So, Nick, let's get straight into the question we always ask first in our show. Will your company grow?
Yes, and it's a pleasure to be on the podcast today. Thank you so much for having me. But yes, absolutely, I believe 220 will grow. We have an incredibly exciting opportunity in front of us as a London-born brand entering the California market. We not only have a fantastic product, but we have a point of difference, our London heritage, and we're providing a solution to a problem that no one else is addressing. We also have a great team to tell our story, and we have absolute conviction that we can carve out a slice of this enormous market. That said, though, we're under no illusions about the huge challenges we face. But if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? We're breaking into an incredibly competitive market dominated by huge corporate names, but that also presents a number of opportunities for us. And the challenges we face excite us and drive us forward. We spent the last year demonstrating product market fit within the California market, and it feels like now is the time to push hard and lift off.
Interesting perspective. It's good to know that it's a London heritage and now you've entered the Californian market. But let's dive deeper. What exactly is the problem that you are solving? Why does the market need 220?
So the problem within this enormous market is that there is a large number of hard seltzer drinkers who have zero loyalty to any brand. This presents an enormous opportunity to be their favorite hard seltzer. Now, why has this happened, you ask? The alcohol that you take to a party is an extension of your own brand. And there is a large number of people in California who love how hard seltzers are a healthier option, but they do not have a hard seltzer that resonates with their identity and their lifestyle. And they therefore do not feel comfortable turning up to a party or a pre-game with a box of White Claw, for example. The market is saturated, but with brands that boast uninspiring brands and artificial tasting products. Our target demographic are stylish and health conscious, outgoing 21 to 35-year-olds, and they are craving something new and exciting. And that's why we have 220.
Okay, it's such a stylish and cool brand, but how do you support that your brand and product is going to support the idea that 220 will grow in future?
So our brand and products support the idea that 220 will grow because research shows that consumers, and these consumers in particular, resonate more with bold brands. And 220 sticks its middle finger up to boring. 220 embodies the electric energy of London's music scene and nightlife. And we are more than just a drink. We are an attitude. We are the ones who encourage you to get up and dance on that table, to seize the moment and to live life unapologetically. We combine that ideology with a premium product to combat this artificial tasting category. We have Sicilian lemon, Manila mango, and British raspberry. And our vodka-based drinks use top quality ingredients with lemons from Sicily and mangoes from the Philippines and nothing artificial. And we continuously get feedback that 220 is the best looking and best tasting in the market. And we know that 220 is a product that people are proud to be seen with, which is crucial in a market like Los Angeles, where personal branding really matters.
It's interesting, but we're all part of Generation Z. Me, Will, how do you see that according to the listings of 2024, where the financial spending of generation is quite tighter and they are very much health conscious about spending whatever beverage they are going to go to? How do you see this in coming 10 years? How are you going to praise your customer to move to your brand, who are especially health conscious brand?
So I think, in terms of what you mentioned in terms of people having potentially a little less capital to spend and also a health conscious aspect to it, the people that we're targeting are not people who are looking to get the cheapest option when it comes to alcohol. We are targeting people who potentially spend a premium when they go and buy their coffee. They go to nice grocery stores like Sprouts or Air One or Whole Foods. These kind of people are already spending a premium on their food and on their coffee and on other similar products, and therefore we don't see it being an issue them spending an additional dollar fifty on a premium hard seltzer. And when it comes to the health aspect of these consumers, we are continuing to see a shift of people moving more towards healthier lifestyle, and hard seltzer plays into that perfectly. our drinks are made from very simple ingredients. It's literally sparkling water with vodka and fruit flavorings, nothing artificial. And therefore, these consumers who prefer healthier alternatives, we're perfectly positioned to target them.
That
That's
seems all
good, but I
good.
mean,
And sorry, that
please,
seems all
please go,
good.
Lisa.
And also, I really like the passion you've got for the company and how you think it's going to evolve, and especially the things you've outlined here. You've outlined the health conscious people that Gen Z and millennials are coming up to now. And we've also got the convenience. You want people to turn up to pre-games with a sense of their character within their drink. It's not only what they're wearing, which is also something you're tying your drink to, but it's also like the identity that they're showing up with instead of being, your basic bitch and turning up with a white claw. Um, and then obviously you've got your flavors, and I've even got like a study showing that definitely backs up that aspect that you were talking about, Nick. And Mintel were talking that 48% of US consumers nowadays prefer beverages with a unique flavor, and the fact you're not going towards those typical artificial flavors is definitely a real good sign that this company can grow. So I'm definitely liking the passion you've got for it there.
Yeah, and when we tell people that we have Sicilian lemon and we have Manila mango and we have British raspberry, those flavors evoke a certain sense of curiosity, and people automatically associate our drinks, which are premium, with those premium flavors. And I think that so far we've got really, really strong and positive feedback on the flavors themselves, that we are the best tasting hard seltzer in the market and that we are a premium product. And this is exactly what this target demographic are going after. Whereas, the big names in this space, like White Claw, Truly, their mango flavors and their lemon flavors, they don't taste anything like the real fruits. They're
Yeah.
artificial tasting and they're cheaper, and therefore we're really dialing into that premium aspect of our brand.
Yeah, but definitely I've seen with these, as you said, turning up with a can that's like identifies you and is not just something basic. But what would you say, like, how would you address like obviously you're a ready to drink beverage. How would you say, but what's come about is that cocktails and ready to drink cocktails are now becoming even more popular because I think the taste of everyone nowadays is getting a bit more evolved over beer and wine. But the cocktails have recently passed hard seltzers. So like how do you think that's overall ready to drink drinks like cocktails are going to boost hard seltzers as well, or are you going to see that as a direct competition?
I think that ready to drink cocktails are a competition, but at the same time, I think that there's space for both in the market. I think the ready to drink category, like as a category, is continuing to grow and grow and grow. And ready to drink cocktails have grown significantly in the last few years, but hard seltzer continues to grow at an incredible rate. The US market last year was worth $19 billion. It's expected to be worth $43 billion by 2029.
Yeah,
That is an absolutely enormous market to dive into and to try and, carve a slice out of. And I think that you know, ready to drink cocktails are always going to be around, just like hard seltzer. And I think there's definitely space for both categories to coexist in the same market. People who drink ready to drink cocktails also drink hard seltzers.
hmm
So yes, there may be some people who may be drinking those cocktails, but the numbers speak for themselves in terms of the volume of sales within the hard seltzer market.
Yeah. So you're thinking that like these hard seltzers and ready to drink cocktails are just showing that tastes are evolving from your typical like getting a beer or getting some wine. So I definitely see your side of it and saying that like both coming up, I definitely see space, and I think it might both of them might grow to challenge beer and wine out there.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a party recently, and um, previously, 5 years ago, everyone would turn up with crates of beer, and now there was almost no one drinking beer. It was very focused on hard seltzers, very focused on other ready-to-drink alcohol that wasn't beer or wine.
Yeah, and then I definitely agree with like I mean, Abdul, I know you have a question coming up about the non-alcoholic industry, so I'm going to let you take over there, and then I've got some things to say as well. I hope Nick, you do too.
Yeah, I was very curious to ask this question, especially to you, Nick. I mean, it's a billion-dollar market in the US, and especially coming to the health-oriented market. Approximately 46% of users are still taking protein shakes and protein bars. How do you compare your beverage, which is alcoholic plus it's a sparkling water? Don't you feel like it's going to trouble your market? You're the only one founder, and you just started off. How do you see comparing your brand to 46% of the nation who are still using the protein shakes?
So I think that the number 46% of people are drinking protein shakes is a real positive for 220 because that shows that 46% of the market are focused on their health. They're focused on, I think as someone who takes a protein shake, they're most likely someone who is very active. They might go to the gym, they might run, and therefore they care about what they're consuming because they're supplementing their diet with protein. That kind of consumer is going to be very attractive for us because if you're someone who drinks alcohol and you're also someone who's focused on your health, then hard seltzers are the perfect drink for you because they are, like I said before, a healthier alternative to some of the more traditional alcoholic drinks out there. The fact that we are so low in calories, so low in sugar, the people who go to the gym and drink protein shakes are very much going to be the people who then go to a party and still want to get a buzz from a bit of alcohol, but they'd rather drink something cleaner, and therefore hard seltzer is the perfect drink for them. And you turn that up even more and you say, okay, of those consumers, which of them want not just a healthier alcoholic drink, which is a hard seltzer, but a premium alcoholic drink that's vodka based and uses nothing artificial, 220 is going to stand out for those users. So I think that's a very positive stat to draw upon to show that 220 is going to grow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
But
mean,
coming,
I sort of see the same thing. And I mean, there's some data by IWSR that indicates that even with obviously these protein powders, people the 60+% that are consuming them, they might be consuming these non-alcoholic drinks that are now coming out and becoming more popular, especially with marketing becoming harder there. But there's a data to show that 80% of these people that are drinking these non-alcoholic now beers or whatever it may be are also consuming alcohol. So I also agree with you, Nick, that like it's showing like a moderation to how people are drinking. And I can see a link between people that are caring about their bodies and perhaps purchasing a product.
Yeah, and I think, it's really interesting that stat that 80% of the people who drink non-alcoholic drinks are also consuming alcohol. And I'm definitely one of those people, I am the problem that 220 is trying to tackle. I very much care about my health and I like to work out, but I also like to go out and drink alcohol with friends. And, hard seltzer is the perfect drink for me when I do want to go out because, it gives me that cleaner, lower calorie, low sugar alcoholic drink. Um, but then sometimes, I don't feel like drinking alcohol at all. And, I therefore go for that non-alcoholic version. And I think that this shift in more and more people drinking non-alcoholic drinks is actually just showcasing the fact that more and more people are becoming more focused on their health. And again, reiterating the fact that 220 as a hard seltzer is a healthier alcohol alternative. We are perfectly positioned to capture that shift in consumer behavior. And, again, the fact that we are a premium product within that space is going to, again, help us with our growth and in capturing that opportunity.
I think I like Abdul's question because even from McKinsey are reporting that Gen Z and millennials are purchasing more wellness products than any other older generation. So I guess I like Abdul's question because it's, I guess, bringing in this tie between 220. How do you th see the link between 220 and these wellness products? Obviously, it's not a wellness product because it has alcohol in, but are you seeing a connection in your consumer there?
Yeah, and it's an interesting question because sometimes I get asked, oh, why don't you put electrolytes in your 220? Or why don't you add, vitamin C or vitamin D or anything like that? And I think what's really important with our ideology and our brand is, you know, hard seltzers as a category are already a healthy drink. The fact that we're made predominantly from sparkling water makes us, so much more healthy than the rest of the alcoholic category out there. And therefore, we don't need to do that additional electrolyte based hard seltzer or that vitamin based hard seltzer because we're not focused on the fact that 220 is a healthy drink. We are alcohol and we know that we're alcoholic. Alcohol is for the most part an inherently fun product. And we want to focus on that. 220 is all about people enjoying the moment and seizing the moment. And, like I said, encouraging you to go dance on that table and to, go to that Monday night concert and, enjoy the 220 degrees that's in front of you, which is what our brand is all about. And so therefore it's, it's really important that we dial into that focus on the fact that we're all about people having fun and bringing people together and enjoying the moment and knowing that we are a healthy product without overemphasizing that.
Mm. Abdul, do you have another question, or have you got anything to say on that?
Still got one confusion, Nick. I mean, you're calling it a healthy beverage, apart from it being an alcohol, and you guys are using electrolytes. But the question is, it's still manufactured by using artificial flavoring, right? And a lot of
No, no
other,
artificial flavors.
no, I
Our
mean,
lemons come from Sicily and our mangoes come from the Philippines. We don't use
that's cool.
anything artificial.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And
Like,
to be clear, we're not saying it's a healthier drink. We're not saying it's a healthy
No,
drink.
of course
Alcohol
not.
is not healthy. We're saying it is a healthier alcoholic alternative. Because when you compare us to a ready-to-drink cocktail, you know, you have this ready-to-drink cocktail company called Moth, and in a
mhm.
single 250 milliliter can, you have 40 grams of sugar, right? Which is 8 tablespoons. We have 2 grams of sugar, which is less than half a tablespoon of sugar. We are 96 calories in one of our cans versus a gin and tonic, which is 250 calories. So,
Mm.
we are by no means a replacement for a smoothie or a protein shake, but we are a healthier alcoholic alternative.
But I mean, still, the brands like Noon and White Claw, which are your rivals, they're still into the market and they have experienced market, the knowledge, the right knowledge, and you're a new player in this market. How do you see yourself and your team members, apart from being a disruptive brand and representing your brand as a premium brand? How do you think you're gonna sell up the market? How are you gonna reach the people, the audience?
So it's a good question, and it's our biggest challenge is that there are huge players in this space, like High Noon, like truly like White Claw, but those big corporate names are targeting the mass market. They are targeting everyone. They are trying to, appeal to everyone, whereas we are very focused on a very specific demographic of people, which is 21 to 35-year-olds who care about their health and therefore they like how hard seltzer fits into that category. But they also like to go out and drink alcohol with their friends. And like I mentioned before, these people care about the products that they drink. They like to buy premium products. They spend a little bit more on their coffee, on their groceries, and they care about their own style and their own personal brand. And as I said previously, alcohol is an extension of your own brand. And therefore, they don't like turning up to a party with a box of White Claw because they see it as trashy. They see it as mass market. And instead, what 220 can do is 220 can dial into that very specific demographic. And the very by being a small independent brand, we have the opportunity to be that cooler, more stylish, more appealing brand versus those big corporate names. Those big corporate names would never be able to do that given their size. So we can actually use the fact that we are smaller to our advantage.
That sounds good. But like, how does your market strategy reinforce your growth plans?
So I think, in terms of our go-to-market strategy, the key is that we will focus on the key areas where our market hang out. So in LA, that is Venice and that is Silver Lake. And the way that we'll start when we launch in the US is we'll go to, the bars and the day drinking spots, whether it's the waterfront in Venice, for example, um, and start there. And we've already had conversations with those places like the waterfront about partnerships and make sure that we set up individual partnerships with each of those places. And then what you do is you set up partnerships with 20, 25 um, liquor stores, bars, nightclubs. And then once you have that recurring business, you have, say, you're selling however many cases across however many flavors to 20 different venues, you can then take that business and give it to a distributor like Southern Wines, for example. Now, the important thing is when you go to those venues is that you can't just set up a partnership and be stocked on the shelves because you need to do that in tandem with building awareness. So that once you get onto the shelf in a liquor store, for example, you stay there because it's really important to build that brand awareness. And in this day and age, influencers are talked about in a huge amount of detail. We have fantastic partners called Buttermilk, who are an influencer marketing agency. One of my best friends is the founder of that company, and they allow us to target micro influencers who get huge amounts of engagement versus, the much larger, the influencers with bigger followings. And therefore, through using these micro influencers, we can target people where they spend the majority of their time, which is on their phone. And therefore, by building that awareness alongside those targeted partnerships, we can really start to get the ball rolling and then in time hand off that business, like I said, to those distributors.
I mean, that sounds all good, especially like nowadays, Forbes had released an article in 2023 saying that 61% of consumers trust influencers and their recommendations. So especially if you're getting those more lower, higher engagement influencers, that's definitely a good go-to-market strategy there. And very quickly, and then after, I'd like to get on to how we think this company's going to discussing this company's 10-year survival and thriving as well. Um, just quickly, Nick, how with the rate declining 10% over the last 2 decades of like younger adults drinking, how do you think that's going to affect you? Are you seeing like that's positive because people are becoming more health conscious, or are you wary that that could lose a bit of market share?
I think it's a similar question, so similar answer to what I had before, which is that, the fact that less people are drinking, I think is actually just showing a shift towards people being more aware of their health and
Mhm.
more health conscious. I think that alcohol is so deeply rooted within the culture here in California that it's not going to go away anytime soon. And therefore, I think it actually just shows people becoming more aware of their health, which plays into 220's role as being a healthier alcohol alternative. Now, should I be wrong and um, people suddenly no longer want to drink alcohol at all, then I think we are well positioned to change and adapt depending on people's preferences, which might potentially come into that question about, will we be around in 10 years' time?
Well, it's good you've got that thought. And then if we like, Abdul, we'd like to take us on to talking about how we think this company is going to go in the next 10 years.
Yeah, of course. Nick, if you can highlight furthermore on the 10 years plan and how exactly are you gonna venture dive into getting funding? I assume you're looking for 250,000 additional costs for the expenditure. Do you have any plans on fundraising for your campaigns?
Yes, and I'm just conscious of the time. Um, so you asked the question about fundraising. We're currently fundraising at the moment. We have fantastic traction to show that we have product market fit within this market, and therefore we're in the process of that fundraise, and that definitely gets us will get us to the next point in our journey. But with regards to your question as to, will we be around in 10 years' time? I have
Yes.
absolute conviction that we will be around in 10 years' time. Whether we'll be a hard seltzer, just a purely a hard seltzer company, I think is too hard to know. But no one knows how consumers' preferences are going to change in the next 10 years. However, I do believe that 220 is very well positioned to adapt to whatever those consumer preferences are in that time. 220, like I mentioned, is so much more than just a hard seltzer. We are an ideology, we are an attitude, we are a way of living that I think that, the current competition just is not able to emulate. And I think that you know, for example, if consumers were to change their preferences and suddenly a hard fruit smoothie became, the drink that everyone was drinking, we have fantastic partners. We've got an award-winning flavor house that we use that have created our current flavors that will be very well positioned to allow us to adapt and be agile. But the ideology of seizing the moment and enjoying the moment, I think that's something that people are always going to continue to dial into and you know be a part of. And we want to build a community. And I think the most successful brands are the brands that dial into their community and build a really strong, loyal fan base. And I think that we have a fantastic team to be able to do that. I don't have drinks industry experience in the US, but I've got 4 years of experience in the UK running this company. I've got my co-founder who's an award-winning creative, who's already worked with drinks companies in the creative aspect and building marketing campaigns. We've got our head of brand, James, who, is an award-winning design consultant, again, who can help us ensure that our London authenticity, which is such a key part of our differentiating factor, he ensures that that oozes from every touch point of the brand. So, I do strongly believe that we have a great opportunity to be here in 10 years' time and be agile as the market changes. And I'm really excited for how that looks.
So what you're trying to say is that regardless of whether 220 is focusing on alcohol and an alcoholic beverage, you're hoping that building your community and building these people that have a care for style, a care for their health, and a care for their social life on a higher degree, you're hoping that that will mean that the brand itself will survive. But so you're saying you might not be certain on whether the hard seltzer itself will be around in 10 years?
Look, hard seltzer, like I said, is growing at an astonishing rate. It's going to be worth $43 billion by 2029 in the US alone. That's in 5 years, well, 4 years time, five
Mm,
years time. 10 years is a long way away. Who
of course.
knows what kind of category of drink will come out by that point in time. What I'm saying is that we can be agile, we can pivot, we can move. We may well be still selling hard seltzers, I hope in huge amounts of volume, but we could also be selling non-alcoholic. We're very well positioned to do that. We could be selling hard kombucha, we could be selling hard tea. Who's to say what the future holds? But I think that we're very well positioned to combat any changes in consumer preferences.
That does sound good.
It's been a
Abdul,
pleasure,
anything to add?
everyone.
We're running out of time. Will, would you like to highlight furthermore, or do you think we are good?
I think thank you for your time, Nick. Obviously best of luck with 220. And I hope everything goes well.
Yeah, good job, everyone.
His plans look promising. I think it's gonna rock.
Yeah, well
Perfect.
done,
Well,
team.
thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
Thank you very
guys.
much.